Hello and welcome to my geared guide with Psy and a lot of unnecessary stalling. I was originally going to make another guide, but I spent like 2 days failing to do it, so yeah, we don't talk about that. Anyways, let's get started by placing a dart monkey as left as possible right over here and set to last. And then we're going to place a sniper right over here, set to strong. There are 2 ways that you can beat round 7. You can either start round 7 immediately after round 6 ends, or you can just turn on auto start for the round, but that's it. I would recommend turning auto start off for pretty much the entire game. And after round 7, place another sniper right next to your other one in that middle gear and set to strong as well. Before round 10, place another sniper in that middle gear and set it to strong as well. Even though you can afford to place a sniper during round 11, don't. Sniper shot timing is very important and we want to keep that consistent. So, after the round ends, place another sniper right over here in the middle gear as well, and this one will stay on first. Very important. And now we're AFK until before 16, so see you then. Yes, it is normal for it to get this close, so don't be afraid if it does. And then before 16, place Psy right over here, as top left as possible, next to your dart monkey. This placement is very important for certain rounds, so yeah. And then set them on strong until Bloons start to pass the dart monkey, and then you're going to switch them to first, where they'll stay until like round 43, I think, but we'll see then. Before 18, place a druid right over here on this line and set it to last. This guy is only used for round 18 and I guess a few other rounds, but he doesn't get upgraded further, so yep, value. Before 21, place a druid right here, set it to last, upgrade it to a 100, and then get it to 110 when you have the money. Mid-round, preferably. Also, on 22 and 23, feel free to use a stun if you ever feel threatened, but you shouldn't have to. '25 is pretty easy, but you do actually have to do something this round. Just stun when a bunch of yellows are in range. I'm not sure if this helps, but I guess it does. And then get Druid of the Jungle on your round 21 Druid once you can afford it. And then set it to first. Very important. The next few things I buy don't have to be bought until before round 40, so feel free to delay them until then, because they don't change anything, like, at all. You're going to not place a village yet. Nope. Or, nope, do place a village. No. Are we placing a village? No? Maybe? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing here, okay? Just place a village right over here. This placement's quite important. And upgrade it to a 002. So, you're going to place a village right next to it here. And you're also going to upgrade this one to a 002. The fact that we can get away with 2 discounts and a MOAB shove before round 40 is crazy. And speaking of a MOAB shove, that's like the next thing you're going to be buying, but I'll go over the specifics in a bit. Whenever you can afford it, place a heli right over here above your first village. Yep, right over there. Yep, nope, not there, there. And you're going to upgrade it to a 203 MOAB shove. And it's going to be on pursuit, because we're lazy here and we don't like microing the helis. if you get MOAB shove before round 40, you're set. You should beat the round pretty easily. And just over the next few rounds, you're going to upgrade your left village to camo, and your right village to a jungle drums. You should afford both of these before 43. And then, for 43, you're going to set Psy to strong until the end of round 47, where we'll put them back on first, and they'll stay there for the rest of the game. '47 is one of the scarier rounds in the run. You're going to use a stun once like 3 or so ceramics are in its range. I used it slightly later than you can, but yeah, just use it on the ceramics. And then, yeah, set Psy to first, and they'll be there for the rest of the game. And then upgrade your heli to a 204 Comanche defense when you can afford it, which should be right before round 49. And then just, at some point, whenever you can afford it, place an Alchemist right next to it, right over here, next to your jungle drums, and upgrade it to a 320 Berserker Brew. This is actually only needed for 75, and probably the other rounds in the later 70s, also don't try to place that heli, that was not intended. You're going to place a bomb shooter to the left of your camo village, right over here, and you're going to upgrade it to a 420 Bloon impact with the middle cross path. And once you've done that, we're AFK until like 63. So, 63 is pretty simple. You don't actually have to do anything. But that is only if you place your bomb shooter correctly. If you placed it correctly, it should be able to attack. If it can't attack, you'll probably have to use a stun and a scream at some point. So, yeah. Place your bomb correctly. Which actually goes back to placing your village correctly, but who cares? Anyways, we're AFK until 75. So, I said that we're AFK until 75, but you don't actually have to do anything on 75. I just wanted to say that know that the mini Comanches will show up when the Bloons get far, so yeah, don't be too afraid. It is fairly common to have all three active at once. And then, for 76, it turns out you don't even need to scream, but I would recommend it. Like, here I discovered that it is not needed, but just use it for safety. This is probably the only time where you have to do more for 77 than you do for 75. You should stun once all of the BFBs are crowded up in that corner. If you place Psy correctly, it should barely hit the edge of the BFBs, but barely is enough. And then for 78, scream both waves, and you're also going to want to use a stun right after you scream for the second wave. Just for safety and a kind of a visual timer for next round. Not really, but anyways, just use it. It's safer. Yeah, scream the second wave, and then I also use a stun here just because it's slightly safer. 79 is pretty easy. All you gotta do is stun the insides of the third BFB right when they enter its range. So basically as soon as it pops, but yeah, just like that. And then you don't have to do anything for a while in the round, because mini Comanches go crazy. All three of them should spawn here. If they don't, that's an issue. Yeah, and also feel free to stun the last two fortified MOABs, because I'm pretty sure it is required. And I also use a scream here because I got scared, and that is entirely reasonable. Because you wouldn't want to die on round 79 when the rest is basically AFK. Basically AFK. Just wait until the ZOMG insides pop into MOABs, and then you're going to use size stun. Once they've popped into MOABs, use size ability, or just the stun, or scream too if you'd like. And the mini Comanches should clean up the rest. I used a scream even though you definitely didn't have to. And after like the first BFB or two, you should afford Bloon Crush. I also call this guy unnecessary stalling because after the buff, he does significantly less damage, but is slightly more utility, I guess. Kind of. And then, right below your camo village, you're going to place another heli, and you're going to upgrade that to a 240 chinook, and get the chinook before you get the pursuit. That is very important. If you'd like to micro the downdraft until you have pursuit, feel free to do that, but know that it is entirely not needed. On 84, you actually have to do something, which is kind of crazy. Upgrade your downdraft to a chinook in the middle of it, and once the big MOAB wave is dealt with, you can use size scream to speed it up if you'd like. You chinook the Bloon Crush slightly higher, so that it's not just in the corner there, barely being able to attack. Just move it like up there. Pretty simple. And now you should get pursuit on your chinook, and it'll blow back Bloons if it needs to, because they'll probably get stunned by the Bloon Crush first. This upgrade here is not needed, but just speeds it up. I would recommend doing it though. I would definitely recommend upgrading your Alchemist from earlier to a 420 because it'll speed it up. And then basically every round from now on, you're going to move your Bloon Crush to the front right over there. That position isn't super important, just try and get it as close as possible. And then, don't place this mortar just yet. Just don't place it yet. No. Place a bomb shooter here first, in range of both discounts. Don't upgrade it yet though. And then, place a mortar, and upgrade it to a 023 signal flare, and set it right on that bend. This is just to decamo DDTs because what else would we need decamoing for? And then over the next few rounds, you're going to upgrade that bomb shooter that you just placed to a 042 MOAB assassin. And remember to keep moving the Bloon Crush. Important. Oh yeah, feel free to chinook the MOAB Mauler, or when you get it to an assassin, just to chinook it somewhere else. So you can place your Bloon Crush there at some point. And you also want to move the mortar out of the way just for reasons, but you don't actually have to. Once you have the MOAB Assassin, I'd recommend using its ability basically off cooldown just to speed things up, as any round with the ZOMG, or just any round in general, it's going to take a really long time because Bloon Crush does like 0 damage now. Also, on round 90, don't move your Bloon Crush to the front because it doesn't need to. But move it back to the front for 91, and because it's being moved and nothing can catch those ceramics, feel free to use a Scream to clean them up. I'm pretty sure it is required, unless you move your Bloon Crush at a better time. So, yeah. Remember to keep using that MOAB Assassin just to speed things up. And feel free to use any of Sai's abilities other than that. Oh yeah, don't move your signal flare over here like I do. Move it next to your Comanche defense heli. Make sure it's still in the range of a Jungle Drums village though, because that is very important. Like, very important. Soon I realized my mistake and moved it over here, which is probably where you should put it. It's also fine if you delay moving your Bloon Crush, as this is probably a better spot for it anyway. But I like to just put it in the front. But for the rest of the rounds, I would recommend moving your Bloon Crush to the front. I moved it there for 94 because I knew that would carry over to a good spot for 95, but you don't have to do that. But just move it for 95. And feel free to use any of Sai's abilities just to speed it up. And after 95, upgrade your MOAB Assassin to a MOAB Eliminator. This guy will be our round 100 deletion, and will also speed things up a lot because round 97 would take ages if we didn't have this guy. And then upgrade your Jungle Drums village from earlier to a primary mentoring to speed up the cooldown of the MOAB Eliminator. Feel free to use its ability constantly, even though it's only really needed on round 100. So, we've reached the almighty round 98. For this round, I would recommend keeping your Bloon Crush slightly higher than it normally is, and keep spamming that Eliminator ability. It doesn't need to be moved over here, but yeah. Also, use Scream just to speed things up because this round would take literal ages, or every round would take literal ages if we didn't have Elim or Scream. But for 99, you do want to move it to the front. That is very important. And here I use a Scream just to catch the things that got past because, I don't know, it scared me. You probably should use it too. And 99 takes ages even though it's literally just DDTs because your Bloon Crush is the only thing that can damage them, which is kinda crazy. Round 100 is very simple. Spam the Eliminator ability, and move your Bloon Crush, preferably in range of both villages, but it only has to be in range of the Chemo village. Spam the Eliminator ability until the bat pops, and then after that, we're just going to use it twice to kill off the ZOMGs. You can also use a Scream if you'd like. Just, why not, you know? Elim, and boom. You should now have your geared black border with Comanche defense main DPS, because of course it did. I hope this guide helped you out. Have a nice rest of your day. Goodbye. Anyways, that took way too long for me to actually come out with a guide. I spent way too long trying to make an X Factor guide, but every single mid-game I tried had serious RNG that I couldn't deal with. The strategy for X Factor was originally going to be Psy, Pod, and Carpet of Spikes, and I tried like 3 different mid-games for that. Sentry Expert, MAME MOAB, and Never Miss. All 3 of those got Pod before 63, but all of them had an element to RNG with them that I just couldn't deal with.